Good evening and welcome to the Stock Planner channel. Tonight I want to discuss a winning strategy for swing trading. First, you need an idea or an opinion. For example, technical stocks will go up tomorrow. How can I capitalize on that? The second thing you need for a winning strategy is to pick a strategy, a simple strategy that you can apply your idea to. In my case, I think that you can form a winning system using the RSI strategy or the MACD strategy. And I can go ahead and analyze that. Then you must, once you've got a strategy, you must pick tickers that work well with that strategy. That's really what I want to talk about today. Picking tickers and stocks that work well with your chosen strategy. It could be any strategy. EMA crossover strategy. In my case, I picked them MACD and RSI. Then once you've had a tested strategy with your tested database and your tested basket of stocks, you execute that strategy, taking your long and short signals. Once you're in a trade, to get out of the trade, you must use a risk-reward ratio that's productive. In the case that I'm currently using with my RSI strategy and the MAC strategy is that my target price is 5% and my stop loss is 2%. So in this case, I'm winning more than I'm losing. And that's the essence of a winning strategy is to be able to win more than you lose. And of course, you've tested it. You know your win rate from your strategy, from your back testing and your testing before you apply it and go live with it. And then you complete the cycle and do it and start all over again. But today I want to talk about this basket of stocks that trade well with your chosen strategy. My chosen strategy is the RSI strategy. It essentially is when the RSI is below the 30 or above the 70 and it crosses back over, you look for a long trade. In other words, when it crosses over the 30, it's below the 30 and crosses over the 30, you look for a long trade. And the zigzag needs to be in the same direction that you want to go into. And it has to be, the use of zigzagging must be 2 bars after the initial regime change. In other words, 2 bars here. You couldn't take this RSI here until 2 bars after the zig, right about there. So essentially, that's my strategy for the RSI, is you need 2 elements. You need to have an extreme overbought or oversold, and the regime has to change, and it has to be at least 2 bars in that regime change because if you remember, the zigzag looks 2 bars in the future. That's why you need 2 bars. You just can't take it. The zigzag is always right, and to do that, it has to look 2 bars in the future to be right. That's essentially my simple strategy, and now we're going to look at it a little bit further. So we have chosen a simple strategy, RSI, and it's in many different videos and many different books. You can look it up using that simple strategy, the RSI. And now we must choose stocks that work well with that indicator. And then if we have those 2 elements, we have a winning strategy. This is a 2-part video. I changed the name of Smedley to Sir Smedley because this is the first part. And Sir Smedley is a smart trader. He has a small account and a job, and he has $5,000 to invest. He has a winning strategy that he backtested called the RSI strategy. And then he went online and looked at Kramer and got some advice, any stock that he was interested in, and he put it on a list and came up with 187 stocks that he knew the names of, like IBM, Honeywell, Valero, Visa, things that he'd like to own and invest in. Then he ran a program, because he's smart. He ran a routine that he wrote against the database of 187 stocks and came up with the best stocks to trade with the RSI. And he uses another strategy, MACD, and he also does some options, the stocks that will stay long for at least 30 bars. And then he had a list of 40 of the really best stocks that he really wants to trade. So he took this 187 and made a subset of those. So he ran a routine of the against the 187 stocks and found out that 58 of them trade really well with the RSI strategy, 30 with the MACD, 60 that stay true. In other words, if you say it's going to go long, it'll stay long for at least 30 bars. And then 40, of course, there's 40 in the top 40 of the top best stocks. And again, this 187 stocks, he knows a little bit about each one of them, the name or what it does, but it gets to know these other ones quite well, depending on his favorite strategy. Mine is RSI, so I know my 58 stocks, and I know my top 40, which is amongst those. There's a lot of overlap. In a minute, I'll show you how I did this. And then once you have your best stocks and your best, you can run your routine and get signals to trade by. So let me go through this program, show you how easily it's done. And then in part 2, because not everybody's going to have the program, in part 2, I'm going to show you how you can do it manually. A little more work, but if you're a beginner, getting to know the stocks and going through this manually is a very good process, and that initially you don't need to have a program. Later on, you might want to write a little routine or script to do this, but right now it's best just to get to know the stocks. So part 1, I'm showing you how I do it automatically and how Sir Smedley does it, and in part 2 I'm going to show you how to do it manually and how a novice person can get started without having a program. Let me show you how I'm doing it with my program. So I have a master list of 180 stocks, so 182 stocks, and then I ran a routine and took my RSI favorites and my MACD favorites and some of the other things I told you about. But let's run this routine. We're going to do a back test from the first of the year to today, and we're going to do a back test, and we're going to do it to see which stocks work best with the RSI symbol during this period of time as well. And here is in the individual stocks from that listing and the net profit that you would have received from each one of the stocks. And so you could pick the stocks that have the highest net profit if you wanted to. And that would be one way of picking your best stocks. I tend to go over to the percentage of winners and go down the list of 100 and pick the ones that have the highest percentage of wins. This got 100%. And the number of trades is only 1. That's not, I'm trying to look for about 4, 3, 2. And number of trades, you got 2 here. And that doesn't look so good. You lost 1 and won 1. So you get down through and pick the thing. Of course, I've run this routine for a whole year and in 3 years. So I can run this routine back 3 years and pick the best stocks that perform well with my indicator. In this case, it's the RSI indicator, which I showed you my rules. And once I put those stocks that I pick out in a list, and it's RSI favorite, and then I have an MACD favorite, and then I have another one called Stay True, in the top 40. So once I've got that, I'm going to select my best. There's my Stay True. I'm going to select my favorite and say okay, and run a back test. And this gives me all the trades that I would have placed during since the first of the year. And then I can look at a report. I started out with $1,000. My stop loss was at 2%. My profit target was 5%. And after 18 bars or 1 month, I get out of the trade. That's the criteria I'm using. And after nearly 3 months, I have $2,300 profit, 60 trades, and the winners are 81%, and the losers are 18. That's great odds. Now remember, this is a back test. It's very hard to trade your back test. Okay, but you can try, and it can be done. So yes, you can have a winning system if you pick a simple strategy. You pick some tickers that work well with it. You do some back testing, and then having a win-loss ratio or risk-reward ratio that when you win more than you lose. Before I leave here, I'm going to change some variables here and change my risk-reward since the market is very volatile, maybe it'd be better if we took our profits a little lower, say at 3%, and our losses at 2%. Would we win more? Would we get more money? So let's remember the 23.15 and our win 60 trades. Just remember that, and our win loss rate 81. Let's just say 82%. Let's change some variables and take a look. Remember now, we're using our optimized ticker list. Changing the 5 to 3 and running a back test. Looking at the report, this time we have 67 trades. That's not that much more. But our net profit, it went down. Before it was 23.15, our net profit went down. And our win rate went up. So what that says is taking a small profit leads you to less money, but your win rate is higher. I'd rather have the money. Now let's do one last back test. Let's use the list of 187 stocks without optimizing and see what we have there. Changing the database from my favorite list to the 187 list and running the back test. And remember, we did not change the 2 and 3% profit target. The number is lower. And remember, it was around 1,700. Now it's 1,300. So it's better to run with the listing of stocks. Also, the number of trades went up. And let's see what our win rate. The win rate dropped to 70%. One last run. Let's put it back to 3%. From 3% to 5%. Now we're using our listing of 187 stocks. This shouldn't be too bad. 1842, 116 trades. Remember though, using that curated list of the best stocks, we only had 60 trades. So I'd much rather do more money in 60 trades than do more trades. So it's best to have that curated list. One thing I want to show you before I go is that you can double click on any one of these things here, and it'll show you the little green and red arrows where you bought and where you got out, and that's a winner. Now, you must remember that's not going to, sometimes it won't show all the trades because you only got $10,000, and there might be more singles than the $10,000 will cover, and so somehow OmniBroker, which is just with the program, OmniBroker must decide which ones are the best, and it does that by the rate of change. It's just a simple, it picks the ones with the greatest rate of change, and that's how it prioritizes. So sometimes you'll see the singles, the trade singles here, but the listing will not show all of them. Anyway, the backtester is fantastic on this, and it's so easy, and it allows me to go ahead and produce a list. Let me just summarize now. So the point I'm trying to make is, if Smedley has $5,000 to invest, and he knows a simple strategy, in our case RSI, but I use two simple strategies, RSI and MACD, and he has some favorite stocks, what he can do is divide those favorite stocks into baskets. In our case, which stocks trade best with RSI? There's 58 of them out of 187. 30 MACD that trade the best, and they usually are the ones that are trending. There's 61 stocks that might be ideal for option trading. In other words, when it says go up, it'll stay true. The price will end up higher for about 30 days, or 30 bars, or 45 days. And then, I didn't show you this, but some other time I will show you the top 40, my top 40 stocks that tend to do well. And of course, I picked the ones that had win rates of 80, 90, 100%, and that had 4 or 5 trades throughout the year. I went down through the list and picked those. And it had to be top names. It had to trade, the prices had to be over $4. It had to have enough volume. Lots of little things went into that. And then I can run my routine each night and get my trade singles, knowing that the ones I'm getting are pretty good and they have been back tested. So the next video, in a few days, I'll show you how you can go ahead and come up with a list of stocks to trade, and how you can go ahead and curate it into categories based on your strategy. I'll show you particularly RSI again. So I hope this helps. This is my first video like this, so my organization may be a little off, but based on your feedback and peer review, I'll redo this video in a month or so and make it better. You're really doing a lot to help me improve my profit and my strategy, and your peer review is welcome. Please like and subscribe. I'll catch you in a few days on how you can do it without any program, and you can do it for free. It's going to take some work though. Happy trading. Please like and subscribe this video. I need your help.